Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the top 5 quarterbacks in Buffalo Bills history based on analytics. That's right, based on analytics. In this video, we're essentially going to show all the quarterbacks the Bills have had in many ways who had the best statistical seasons based on a era-adjusted method. So what I essentially did is I took all the performances of the quarterbacks the Buffalo Bills had and I scored them based on how they performed during their era. So in many ways, this is normalizing the data to give you an idea of how well they looked or performed compared to the peers in their era. So that is how I did this comparison. So this isn't like who had the most passing yards or who had the most touchdowns or any of that stuff, because as the NFL progresses, touchdowns go up, yards go up, completion percentages go up, and because of that you have to have some way to kind of determine how good a player is based on the era in which they played, and that is the best way that I found to do it. So this video, we're essentially going to go through all the quarterbacks the Bills have had who put up the best career averages, and the career average essentially adds up all of their stats together for the era in which they played, and for however long they played, adds all those performances together and then divides it by how many years they played to give you a general average career score. So with all that stuff out of the way, let's get to the top 5 quarterbacks the Bills have had in their history up to this point. So first off, we have at number 5, Ryan Fitzpatrick. When you look at his overall career data, not that fantastic. You'll notice a lot of the quarterbacks the Bills have had have not been that great. The Bills in many ways are almost like a Cleveland Brown-like franchise because they just have never really had great quarterbacks. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is one of those guys who has not had a single above-average total QB stat year in his entire career on the Buffalo Bills. So not that great, but definitely better than a lot of the other quarterbacks the Bills have had in the past. Of course, we get to number 4 in this list, which is kind of surprising, but Rob Johnson. Rob Johnson, in many ways, had at least one above-average total QB stat score, 57.61 out of 100. Not that amazing of a player, but definitely, again, pretty decent compared to the quarterbacks the Bills have had. So, again, I understand there's some snickering and stuff in some ears, but this is based on how he performed to his peers during the era in which he played, and also based on the players the Bills have had. So Rob Johnson is not exactly the best quarterback ever in the grand scheme of things, but when it comes to Bills quarterbacks, he was at least better than most. Of course, we get to number 3 on this list, which is Doug Flutie, who, similar sort of vein to Rob Johnson, had a better total QB stat score in 1998 of 77.68 out of 100. In 1999, kind of fell off a cliff a little bit. He was a little bit older too, guys, and that's the biggest thing. Doug Flutie was a little bit older when he was on the Bills during that time period, but definitely pretty decent overall stats in many ways, at least for the 2 years that is recorded so far. So again, pretty decent, better than Rob Johnson, obviously, but definitely not the longest career ever in terms of his impact on the Bills. Then we get to number 2 in this list, which is Joe Ferguson. A very, very long career on the Bills. Not that fantastic, statistically speaking. Pretty below average in most of the seasons that he played on the Bills, but did have some above average seasons in 1975, 1979, 1980 was about average, and 1981 was a little bit above average as well. So not the most fantastic quarterback from a statistical standpoint, but did have a very long career, and when you add up all of his seasons together and divide it, he definitely has a decent career score. And then the number 1 quarterback in Bills history, of course, is Jim Kelly, of course. Jim Kelly from 1986 to 1995 had an above-average quarterback season. His peak, statistically speaking, was in many ways in 1990 to 1991, where he had a 98.13 season in 1990 and a 95.89 overall season in 1991. And just a really solid all-around career. So when you look at it compared to the rest of the players, so Jim Kelly, again, best quarterback in Bills history based on the data, based on his statistics compared to his peers. And saying that makes me a little bit sad. Hopefully Josh Allen can live up to some of the hype and kind of change the trajectory of Bills quarterbacks in their history. But the Bills in many ways have just not been known for having great quarterback play. So other than Jim Kelly in many ways. So we'll see what happens in the future. But let me know in the comment section below, who is your favorite Bills quarterback of all time? And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn@wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace!